Hey, good morning, guys. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another live commentary. This is the first Jack Reacher movie from 2012, the one that Tom Cruise starred in, not the TV show that came out on streaming like last year or in 2021. I wanted to do this one. I did the second one already a few years ago. It's time to do this one. Mission Impossible's coming out in tomorrow. Do not spoil it in the podcast or you're blocked. I mean it. This is one movie I don't want to spoil. This is over 2 hours long, so let's get started. I'll keep the volume low so I don't get a copyright infringement. Yeah, this movie, it came out in 2012 in December. I didn't see it in the theater, though, because I saw Rosamund Pike was in the trial, and I'm not a fan of Bintos. I don't watch this movie for Bintos. I watch Tom Cruise movies for Tom Cruise, not the Bintos that are in it. Nobody spoils Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 or Part 2 next year. Just keep your mouth shut. Just talk about this movie instead, or the Jack Reacher TV show. I haven't watched it yet, by the way. Skydance. It's the same company. This is directed by Christopher McQuarrie, I believe. Yeah. Because I was gonna do. It was either this one or what other Tom Cruise movie? I haven't seen Collateral yet, but yeah, this movie is a bit slow though. It's not as fast as Mission Impossible. I've done Night and Day. I've done all the Mission Impossible movies leading up to the new movie. I've done the second Jack Reacher. I haven't done Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick, but I have to get that one. I have to own that one. Then I could do it in my room. Yeah, Rosamund Pike. I'm not a fan. I don't watch Wheel of Time because I just don't like Brintos. Richard Jenkins is a good actor. I like him. Werner Herzog. He was in The Mandalorian. David Aiello. No thanks. I'm sorry, but McQuarrie, one problem I have with this director, he casts a lot of Brits in his movies. Jai Courtney, In this movie, he's a meh. Not terrible, but, Robert Duvall, he's just there. I know he's a film legend, but I'm not a fan of him either. Alexia Fast, I know her. She's a Canadian actress. It's a good-looking film. Like, McQuarrie's movies are always well-directed. They're well-shot. They're not edited to crap. They have a big budget, and they're not like $2 million. They look expensive. I mean, the new Mission Impossible costs $290 million. Let's hope it makes $1 billion so I could cover that. Because if this movie flops, I'm done. What's up, Spidey? Keep it calm. Don't talk about Stacy Keibler here because I've heard enough. She's not in this movie, and I wish she was because I don't like Rosamund Pike. I've never been a fan of this actress since I saw her in Doom. She's a boring actress that I don't know why she got an Oscar nomination for Gone Girl. Anybody could have done that role. Charlize Theron could have played that after winning an Oscar for Monster, and it would have been the same performance. I don't see anything special about her. Brie Larson actually won the Oscar. Natalie Portman actually won the Oscar. Jamie Lee Curtis won the Oscar. Michelle Yeoh won the Oscar. This lady hasn't even gotten another nomination because she sucks. Bintos are not the best actors, especially now. Back in the day, they were some of the best ones. Laurence Olivier and Alec Guinness and Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, all of those guys are dead now. Now we got freaking Kaluuya and Bayenga and freaking all these girls that are in the Bond movies. And yeah, it's too much for me. I'm all Britished out, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not British. In case you didn't notice, I'm Spanish, Black, and Native American. That's not British at all. I don't have any English blood inside of my body. I just speak their language better. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, Courtney just here, he doesn't say much. He's not the lead. But in other movies like Divergent and Terminator and even Suicide Squad, I was like, yeah, he could have been cut out of that movie because they put him in the sequel and he just dies. Wow. What a great character. Sexy woman. And this is a PG-13 movie. It feels like an R-rated film, like Face Off or something like that, but it's not as over the top. I'm gonna have to shut that air off because I'm not gonna be able to hear the movie. I'll just shut it off for now. It needs to rest anyway. Shut it off. I'll just open a window. I'm fine. I'll manage to survive this 2 hours and I'll just open this window. Okay, better. Okay, Christopher McQuarrie is one of the best directors he is because unlike Nolan, he doesn't make a movie overly long. His longest film is about 2 hours, and like 5 to 10 minutes. It's not 22.5 hours or 2 hours and 45 minutes. Nolan thinks a movie has to be 3 hours to be good. No, it doesn't. See, there's no gore because it's a PG-13. He's a sniper in this movie. He misses a couple of times too because, he's not a perfect shot. It's pretty dark opening. I haven't seen the show yet, and I know the show's way more violent because it's got this, was it Alan Ritchson? He was in Ninja Turtles, the 2014 movie. He was Raphael. He's the new Jack Reacher, and he's very timid, opposing. I saw the movie with my adult guardian on DVD last year, and I thought it was good. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie, but it's just way too long. If this movie was an hour and 45 minutes, it would have been fine. Cut out Rosamund Pike. Cut out David Oyelowo. They don't do anything in this movie. They're there to fill time. Cruz, I watch it for him, and he's not even in the opening. Because I'm like, Oyelowo could have been played by anybody. Idris Elba, freaking Ving Rhames, or Denzel Washington. Anybody could have played this role. That's the thing about these Brits. They're interchangeable. They could easily be played by somebody better. Based on the book One Shot by Lee Child. I didn't know that. Because Oyelowo's one of those actors I'm like, I don't care. You played Martin Luther King and you're British. That doesn't make any freaking sense. I know it's acting, but still, get the right race. Not just the color, but also the right race, what they are. It's like if the hobo played Hillary Clinton. It's not going to work. Sorry. I like accuracy. It's much better when they're accurate. There it is, written for the screen and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Yeah. So this is the first film he directed, not the first film he wrote. One of the first scripts he wrote was in the 90s. He did Usual Suspects. He was one of the writers for that. Good movie, but the twist is kind of dumb at the end. And there's no dialogue in the beginning of this movie. That's a good way of starting a movie. You don't have to have a lot of chatting. I'm seeing it on Paramount Plus because I didn't want to see the Blu-ray because I had to look for it. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'm doing the same thing I did with Mission Impossible when I did the second movie a few months ago. Like Enemy of the State, the movie is too long. No, this movie could have been a lot shorter. James Mark Barr, that's Jai Courtney's character's name. This is a good opening. I think the opening works really well because there's not a bunch of dialogue in it because you don't need it. Sometimes it's good to just let the movie speak for itself through visuals. I agree, John. Dumb twists takes people out of the movies, or shows. British actors are they're my kryptonite. Yeah, they are my kryptonite because when I see them and they do these fake American accents, I'm like, who are you trying to fool? I'm not 5 years old anymore, guys. When I saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I was a kid when I saw it. I was like 4 or 5 years old. But now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, yeah, you can't fool me anymore. And with Mission Impossible, they're not going to find their accents, but I'm still going to hate them in the movie because there's too many of them. I bet there's at least 5 characters in Dead Reckoning that don't need to be there, like Indina Varma or Cary Elwes. Why is he in the movie? Vanessa Kirby. I didn't care about her in the last movie. Or Rose, or what's her face? Hey Milos, what's up? Or what's the other one? Haley Atwell. Why is she there? Because she's trying to replace Rebecca Ferguson. You can't do that because she already did 2 films and you haven't done 1 because you were busy ruining the remaining MCU films in roles that she could have been cut out of. Was she needed an Endgame? No. She was just there so that Cap could have a reason to go back. And also in Multiverse. Why is she there? So Scarlet Witch can kill her. There's like, what? They speak English. Is that good enough for you? No, it's not good enough for me. You have to captivate me. You don't do that, I cast you out. When I see Collateral, thankfully that's Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise. There's no Brits and no Brit leads in that. It's also pretty long too, but it's shorter than this movie. I'm not trying to sound snobby. It's just that I know what kind of actors I like and which I don't. I've been on YouTube for 10 years. And I want to get a new webcam so I could film, videos without Get Jack Reacher. I can film videos with a microphone and everything, and I don't have to use this one because I can live stream here. It's fine. You guys can hear me. Because seriously, he sounds like a freaking discount Idris Elba. He doesn't get as much work as Idris Elba because, he tries to blend into his movies. But I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's a little more complicated than that. It's like Chiwetel Ejiofor, the guy that was in 2012 and Doctor Strange. Yeah, he didn't do it for me either. But whatever, he's not in this. He saw a Goodwill store. There he is. There's Tom freaking Cruise, man. I watch these movies for him. Yeah. The man knows how to act, and he's a great action star. That's why they keep putting him in stuff, and his movies are still making money for the studios. Nowadays, they think that the actors sell the movies. No, he's one of the only ones left that can sell a movie. Even when the film doesn't do as well as it could, he's still selling it. He's still more believable than freaking Bayenga and the Hobo and all these other people. I mean, you're gonna buy freaking a Millie Bobby Brown being a freaking, in a Godzilla movie. Yeah, thankfully she's not in the next one, so I don't buy it. I just don't. Western Union. Because I actually saw this movie after I saw Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. New Indiana Jones movie sucked. Well, that's your opinion, Milos. I didn't hate it, but it could have been much shorter. That you don't have to spoil. I already saw the movie last week for the 4th of July. I didn't hate it, but it could have been better if they had cut at least 3 scenes out of the movie or 3 characters. Is it the weakest of the 5? Yeah, but I didn't hate it. It's not going to be my top 10. Don't worry. It's not, because I'm like, I didn't love it like with a passion. I liked it enough because of Harrison Ford. If he wasn't in it, I would have never seen it in the theater to begin with. It's too old for the role. Well, they already knew that. That's why he's not going to do it again. He was also too old to play Han Solo, but look what happened. Cruise is a boss. He's 60. He's in his 60s, and he can still own a freaking movie. He's still one of the best action stars that we got, because even after Mission Impossible, maybe he'll do a Marvel movie next or a DC movie. We don't know. A good DC movie. No more of these overly long, over $200 million, over 3 hours freaking CGI video game cutscenes. No more of that. People are over that. They were over that after the Justice League Snyder Cut. Sorry, but after that, all the DC movies after that have bombed. It's not a coincidence. You had freaking the Suicide Squad, you had Black Adam, you had Shazam 2, and then recently The Flash. It's not working. You're making movies too long and too CGI heavy. This movie barely has any CG in it. I haven't seen Kiss My Ass Rosamund Pike. I just don't like her face. She's like a British Laura Dern. You notice that? That's what I noticed what she looks like. I'm like, what actress does she look like that looks better than her? Oh, yes, Laura Dern from Jurassic Park. I will be going to college in October. Good for you, Milos. I thought it was September. I guess in Serbia, you go 2 months later. Because in America, they have orientations in August, and then September they start. That's when I started in 2005. She's just boring. There's nothing sexy about her. And I've seen her in other movies, so I can say that. Doom, freaking this movie, The World's End, and even Surrogates. She was a nothing character in that. And also the other movie, Wrath of the Titans. I'm like, I don't like you. I'm thinking of Laura Dern because she's better than you. Even Laura Linney is better than you. You bore me to tears. That's why she didn't come back for the sequel. Instead, we had Colby Smulders, who's a way better actress than her. She's not boring. Hell yeah, buddy. I don't need to watch this with my family. They've seen this movie already. There's one F-bomb in the movie. I don't think it's really needed. My water. Seriously, I don't need a bunch of Brits. There weren't a lot of Brits in Transformers. In Rise of the Beasts, I don't think there's any Brits in the movie because you have Peter Dinklage as a robot, Ron Perlman, and Pete Davidson, and of course you have a Canadian, voicing Optimus Prime, who's been Optimus Prime since the '80s. He's great, but like I said, when they put Brits in these movies, they didn't make any sense. Latest DC movies were moody and edgy, and they tried to be dark, especially Man of Steel. Yeah, to me, the DCU failed ever since Man of Steel came out. They had some silver linings, like Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and the first Shazam movie, but that was just like a small portion of what we could have gotten. It could have been a great universe, but Warner Brothers got greedy, and the pandemic didn't help. They lost their minds after the pandemic happened. We did get the Batman and DC Super Pets, but that was, again, separate from the DCEU. That's dead now. Now we got the DCU 10-year plan, which cannot fail like this. The new Superman, I'm already invested. You got two actors that are not British playing Lois and Clark. That's fine. And it's not going to be 2.5 hours. You don't need it to be that long. And it's not going to be a CGI cartoon like Man of Steel was. Any other woman would have been a better actress in this movie. Like I said, Laura Dern, what was she doing in 2012? This is before The Last Jedi came out. And it was before Marriage Story and all that. I'm like, yeah, Laura Dern would have just knocked it out of the park. I know she's older than Rosamund Pike. And you know what a pike is? It's a fish. A pike is a freaking big mouth fish. It looks like a barracuda. There's a lot of exposition in the first 20 minutes of this movie. It's well shot and well acted mostly, except for the big British people. But again, that's just my personal opinion. You don't have to always agree with me. Because this is leaving on Paramount Plus in September, so I'm doing it now. I have the Blu-ray, but I didn't want to put it. All we got left is just another day because I'm not seeing the movie tomorrow. I'm seeing it on Wednesday afternoon. Don't spoil it. The movie should have been under 2 hours. Yeah, this movie should have been 1 hour and 45 minutes. It feels like a Bond movie that it doesn't need to be this long. It's long because there's Brits in it. They make movies aimless. They make them 2 hours and 20 minutes, and you don't need that. Back in the day, people used to hate on Star Wars prequels because of Hayden, and now look who they hate. Yeah, the SJW. Hayden at least came back with a vengeance when he did Obi-Wan Kenobi. That show was good. I don't care what anybody says. Reva was the one thing we didn't need in the show. Bang. Yep, gotcha. Gotcha. The only thing that would have been worse in Dead Reckoning is if they had this chick in it too, her and David Oyelowo, but they're not in it. Instead, we got Haley Atwell and Vanessa Kirby. Yay. Two worthless bintos that we don't need in these movies. Thankfully, after Dead Reckoning Part 2, it's over. We're not going to see them get a spinoff. Like, Ballerina's going to be a spinoff of John Wick with Anna de Armas. At least she's not British. At the very least. Hayden is a million times better than Daisy. I know, because, yeah, she's the cancer of cinema for me. She won't go away. Why are they doing another movie with her in 2027 is beyond me. Good thing I'm not going to care because Kathleen Kennedy will be gone by then, by 2027. She's not going to stay in Lucasfilm until 2029. Things have to change. See, even her voice is boring in this movie. That's why I haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow, because I've refused to. I'm not going to see a movie with Emily Blunt this summer. I saw Jungle Cruise, and that haunted me for almost a year because she's so boring and loud and just a superhero in that for no reason. Right in the face. That's what you deserve. Stay in Wheel of Time. I don't watch Wheel of Time. They're like, but Brits in America, they can do the American accent fine. No, they can't. You can't fool me. Every time that they talk, they're gonna slip. It's gonna slip out. I'm not stupid, guys. I can read lips. I know how to do it. How far are we in the movie already? Almost 20 minutes? Yeah. Yeah. Man, so much talking. This first 20 minutes could have been shorter. She was a robot in Doom. She doesn't even express her face. These people can't even like, no, she's like a robot. And I'm like, yeah, I can't deal with that anymore. After Doom Part 2, I'm done with these Brits. I'm done. I'm done, guys. I'm over it. Jungle Cruise is a flop. Well, they said it's getting a sequel for some reason because it came out during the pandemic and people saw it on Disney Plus. It's dead because when this chick gets electrocuted later in the film, when El Yellow like is a corrupt cop and then shocks her, I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. She's not worth it. She makes the movie too long. Well, as a person with a condition like ADHD, I don't need a movie to be over 2 hours when it doesn't need to be. Like an animated film. Like I think Princess Mononoke is over 2 hours. It probably could be like an hour and 45 minutes. Tired of movies being so damn long, or shows being long too. This is a long movie, and I'm like, I'm only doing it once, so I never have to do a podcast for it again. I did the sequel first because I'm like, I prefer the sequel with the casting, especially. Some people prefer this one. I'm like, this is a good movie, but like I said, it's too long. The sequel was under 2 hours, and that's exactly how long it needed to be. Because once you get to like an hour and 50, an hour and 45, an hour and 45, 150, I'm like, please wrap this up. You're boring me to death. I don't watch movies for Brits. I just don't. When I saw Multiverse, yeah, Doctor, Benedict Cumberbatch plays a great Doctor Strange. That's why I enjoy him as that. But when you have like Joel Ejiofor getting underused again, I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Haley Atwell, I don't care about her getting killed by Wanda. I could do this all day, yeah, and then you're dead because you can't beat Wanda. I prefer the sequel because at least Kobe Smulders is a badass. This girl can't even save herself. Smulders has never played a weak character in any of the movies I've seen her in. Even in Safe Haven, she plays like a ghost in that. And her performance is still stronger as being dead than this girl being alive. Sorry, that's how I feel. Back in 2012, this movie should have had an intermission. No, but it could have been shorter. An hour and 45 minutes would have done the trick. You get your exposition out of the way. You can trim some scenes that don't go anywhere. You can have Jai Courtney still using the sniper rifle. That's fine. But all this exposition could have been cut. A lot of talking, and I'm sick of that. Nolan's movie is just going to be talking. Why? Because it's a fictionalized historical drama thriller. That's it. There's not going to be any action in it. And I feel like Nolan is being pretentious now because every movie he does, after Interstellar, he gave up. That movie was amazing. Visually stunning, great performances, a lot of atmosphere, but it was too long. Way too long. But after that, he gave up. Dunkirk, I'm making an art film war movie. Tenet, I'm going to make a pretentious sci-fi movie that makes no freaking sense. It makes Infinity War look realistic in comparison. Yeah, at least Infinity War's fun. At least it has jokes. At least it's not 3 hours. Endgame was with the end credits. It was 3 hours, but without it, it was 2 hours and 49 minutes. Yeah, too much talking in this film. The beginning is very slow. It's a problem I had with Secret Invasion. When I review that at the end of the month, it's a good show, but there's way too much talking. Each episode is like 45 minutes, it doesn't need to be that long. 5 minutes is good enough. Once you get to like 45, 50 minutes in an episode, I'm like, you gotta keep this pacing going. You can't just have a villain. I'm gonna talk for 30 minutes. No, it just bores me to death. Something like that is like can't is like it repels me when I see something that's too long. I don't want you to be too short either, like 2 minutes, but get to the point faster, please. Dead Reckoning doesn't need an hour of nothing happening. I'm getting tired of things stalling for time. I'm going to go get a drink. I need it. This water is too warm. My soup's too hot. Rosamund Pike is the most boring actress in the world, man. One of the worst. But thankfully, she won't be. She's not going to be in Mission Impossible. I'll just have this lemonade. There's not a lot of it left anyway, so might as well drink it. And do the dishes later anyway, after the movie. I shut the air off because I don't need it. It can't be on 18 hours a day. Lemonade, thankfully, there's no milk in that, so I can drink it. It's pretty good. Okay, I'm back. Wow, I'm so bored already. I'm like, yeah, this is an action movie, right? Where's the action? It had the same problem Mission Impossible 2 did. The only difference is this has a longer running time than Mission Impossible 2. And that was a Mission Impossible movie. It was supposed to have action, but after the opening, there's nothing. There's nothing for 67 minutes. That's a lot, guys. It is tasty. This is not a drama. You can have action in a movie. Don't be ashamed to be what you are. That's like if you had a Barney the Dinosaur movie that came out like in 5 years and nothing happens. It's just Barney just staring into space. People will be like, wait a minute, that's not like the TV show. Yeah, you don't know me either, Rosemont. If you were at Comic-Con, I would avoid you like AIDS because I want to meet real women. I want to meet women that get me aroused, women that I'm attracted to, women that interest me, women that do things that impress me, like Sasha Banks, so she's going to be at Comic-Con, or Katie Sackhoff. Much better actress than this Binto, I could say that. Yeah, you're not going to win this case. You're a lost case. Because ever since the world's end, I'm like, yeah, I don't care about this bitch anymore. I'm going to see that movie again because there's a couple of commentaries from the director and the writers or whatever. It's a good movie, but it's not a great movie because it's the weakest of the Cornetto trilogy, mainly because I don't care about the British chick. The guys were fine in the movie. Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and the rest of the guys, Martin Freeman, they had their moments. But the girl just made the movie just like slow down to a crawl. I don't buy the romance between her and one of the guys. I just didn't buy it. I watch those comedies for the two guys making me laugh. The same running time as Mission Impossible 2, almost the same. I think it's a little bit longer. If Cruise is not on screen doing something, running or jumping or shooting or blasting, blowing something up, yeah, I'm just bored. And this is not a drama. This is not like Magnolia or Interview with a Vampire. I can take his acting in dramatic roles. I've seen Interview with a Vampire, but Magnolia, why is that 3 hours long? Or Jerry Maguire, it's like a romantic drama. You had me at hello. People took that seriously. It's a movie, guys. It's just a movie. There's not even a score in this movie. Like the score was in the beginning and It's gone for like a third of the movie. We close that window because I'm probably going to hear that freaking dog. But whatever. All these animals barking and howling at the moon. It's not even nighttime yet. We're almost 30 minutes in and nothing has happened, guys. All that happened was they showed a flashback and then Jai Courtney shot a couple of people in the beginning, but it's way too slow. McQuarrie this is why when he did Rogue Nation, he had to make it much faster pace. There's an action scene in the first 15 minutes, not an hour. Go to Scene Without Rosamund Pike. You seen all of Tom Cruise's movies? I haven't. He has a lot. Even his cameos, I haven't seen all of his cameos either. Like in Tropic Thunder, he's not the lead in that. He's like an extended cameo. That looks like a Red Robin. The movie had the same problem that Clear and Present Danger had with the pacing. Definitely, I agree with that. Cinema Fan 2007. My problem with these movies is that they make them too long. Yeah, this is Alexia Fast. She was in a bunch of Canadian films. At least she's attractive.
What's your name? You don't look like a Jimmy.
He's not. He's a Jack.
I don't know, but not a Jimmy. So you're new in town? Usually. It's kind of loud in here. Do you want to maybe go someplace quiet? I have a bar.
Of course she is. She was in her 20s back in 2012. Because she's younger. I think she's older than me or younger than me. Let me look her up quickly before I get to. Yeah, the pacing in this is awful. I'm not going to blame McQuarrie because the studio wanted Alexia. Yeah, Alexia Fast. She's 30 years old now. So when she did this, she turned 30 this year, I think. Wait, did her birthday pass? She's not a hooker. September. No, she just turned 30 last year. She's going to be 31 in September. This guy looks like Sean William Scott. Rogue Nation is way better than this. Yeah, it is. Rogue Nation, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout are better than this because they knew about good pacing. They didn't make me wait an hour for something to happen. And they're long movies, but I never feel the running time as much. The only scenes in Fallout that I hate are with Vanessa Kirby. You don't need her in the film. She doesn't do anything. She stabs a guy in the neck and there's no blood, and she doesn't do anything else. She talks to Cruz, kisses him, and then captures the villain at the end. What a great character. Yeah, here we go. This is the scene. Finally, 33 minutes into the movie, we get something happening. It takes too long. 30 minutes is too long, guys. You don't need to wait 30 minutes. Do something like you could have had Cruz running already, or at least. Wow, that's rude. And I know I'm not Mystery Science Theater, but I'm trying my best. Slow can sometimes work, and sometimes it'll done well. Yeah, Alien is slow. Jaws is slow, but you don't have to be a freaking Kubrick movie or The Shining. But you don't have to be that in an action movie. I want to see action in the first 5 to 10 minutes, not an hour, guys. I don't have that kind of patience. People were upset because they said Jack Reacher in the book is actually big, but Cruz doesn't need to be 6 foot tall to be a good action star. Yep, here we go. 34 minutes in, we finally got some fisticuffs. Yep, low blow. That always works. This is a good scene. We had to wait 30 minutes for it, but again, guys, this isn't a Nolan movie. You got to get to the action a lot quicker. This is not a drama, I promise. It's got some dramatic stuff in it, but it's an action thriller. Thrill me. Don't bore me to death. Yep. Kick their ass, Jack Reacher. Kick their ass. That's why this movie made less than the Mission Impossible movies, because it was too slow for some people. Yep, broke his leg. The second movie has a much faster pace. That's why I enjoyed it more in the theater. And I saw it in the theater in 2016. People complain it wasn't as good as this. You mean that it was not as long as this? It didn't need to be as long. Yep. But again, the fight scene is really short. So it's like, McQuarrie's first directing movie, the studio didn't know what to label this as, a thriller, a drama, a crime film. They don't know. That's why there's so many characters here. It's not 35, mind you, but still. Mission Impossible, this is not. That's why there was only 2 of these, and we've had 7 Mission Impossible movies already. The 7th coming out tomorrow. Can't wait to see it. No spoilers. None. Not here, Twitch, YouTube, rest of YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, Instagram. Just don't spoil the movie. No one's asking for that. I wish the action scenes would be faster paced. Yeah, and more of it. Because we don't get to the really good action until the second half of the movie. About an hour and 20 minutes in. I'm not watching a drama. The last drama I did was Empire Records, but even that has good music. It's got sexy girls dancing. It's got guys being funny. It has a sense of humor. It's not 2 hours and 10 minutes, guys. Give me something to latch onto. When I went to my first convention in '99, I did meet a bunch of Brits, but again, they're all dead now. Well, one of them was Scottish. It was the actors from Star Wars. The good actors from Star Wars, not the Disney versions. Because I met Peter Mayhew. He's kind of a dick, but whatever. I just got it because he didn't want to be there. Kenny Baker. I met David Prowse and Jeremy Bulloch, who was the sweetest guy in the world. He was the original Boba Fett before Book of Boba Fett. But even when I went to my last convention that was not Comic-Con, I didn't meet Erin Richards because I'm not a fan. She was a terrible Barbara in Gotham. I thought she was just boring. She has this weird face that I'm just like, no. Yeah, this movie is just kind of dull. Like in the beginning, I'm like, that fight scene was cool, but this is why I don't watch it as much as the other films in the franchise. I mean, other movies that franchises that Tom Cruise has done, like Mission Impossible, and even The Mummy. Yeah, that technically was a franchise, but he did the weakest one. I'm going to probably watch that later with my family. They haven't seen it yet, but I'll just he's tries in the movie, even though it could have been a lot better. I just prefer the Brendan Fraser movies. Even the weaker ones like Mummy Returns and Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. At least they were different. The second movie was just way too long, just like this movie. Stop making movies over 2 hours. You don't need to do that. Comedies need to be between an hour and 20 and an hour and 39. Once it passes that, it just gets really slow, and I'm like, just get it over with, please. I did a podcast with the whole 9 yards and the whole 10 yards that were like 99 minutes. That's perfect. That's the end point. You don't need to go any longer because then you're just boring me to death. More talking. Wow, Rosemont, you can't even say exposition right. You sound like you're reading a eulogy. She was going to get tickets this afternoon. I'm like, yeah, my God, what are you, on Quaaludes? This is why McQuarrie never used her again. You notice that? If you've seen his other movies that he worked with Tom Cruise, she's in none of them. She's not in Rogue Nation because they got a good actress for that. She's not in Fallout. She's not in The Mummy. She's not in Dead Reckoning Part 1. So I got lucky that she only did this one. Why? Because she was doing The World's End about a year later. I don't mind the movie being dark. That's fine. It's not. It's a PG-13. From now on, Hollywood needs to stop making movies that are overly long. Every summer movie this year was over long. Even the good ones, like Guardians 3, was good, but it was too long. The Flash could have been better if it was shorter. And the effects at the end, and also if it had been released a lot sooner. Indiana Jones, I enjoyed it, but it could have been an hour and 45 minutes. It did not need to be 2 hours and 15 minutes. If you had cut Phoebe Waller in that movie, it would have been way shorter. Or the opening with the Nazis, that could have been cut entirely. Mads Mikkelsen could have been a Danish villain from another country. He didn't need to play a German. He plays the same thing in everything now. In Rogue One and Fantastic Beasts, he plays a villain that's not interesting at all. That's how he does it now. Just because he played Hannibal, he's not better than Anthony Hopkins or Brian Cox. It's just not. We just saw that scene 30 minutes ago, or almost 40 minutes ago. It's a well shot movie. Like Macquarie, I'm never going to say his movies look terrible. No, they look great. The sound and the picture quality and the camera work is fine. It's just, it's slow. So freaking slow. And you don't have Rosamund Pike doing any action. Why? She's not an action star, guys. Gone Girl, she doesn't do that. She plays a crazy bitch. Yeah, I've seen that already. Look at Monster with Charlize Theron. Look at freaking the Hand That Rocks the Cradle, or Obsessed, or Unforgettable. Yeah, we've had blondes play crazies. Yeah, we've seen it already. It's not anything new. You're boring. You're so freaking boring, Rosamund. Please get off the screen. I'm watching Mission Impossible for the action. Nothing else. Tom Cruise, the action, and the plot. That's it. I don't need forced humor in there. I don't need the Brintos talking too much. They're going to talk out of their ass, just like they did in the last movie. She's one of the worst. Like at least my bottom 50 bit Brits from the UK. Yeah, because I know that Karen Gillan was born in the UK, but she is not British. She's Scottish, and she's more beautiful, and she never bores me to death. Even when she's underused, like in Stupor, she at least is trying. This Binto was like, I'm gonna talk like I don't have emotions. I'm not telling her to be animated like Jim Carrey, but show some emotion, damn it. Stop talking like a robot. I'm like, Gone Girl wasn't until 2 years later, and she lost. Yeah, they make the movie drag. This movie could have been 2 hours, under 2 hours. Not 90 minutes, because then it will feel too short, but an hour and 45 minutes, an hour and 50 at the longest. But 2 hours and 5 minutes, I'm like, no. That's why it's hard to do this one. Frozen, it'll be a lot easier. It's under 2 hours, so shirtless Tom Cruise again. Cruise is not too old for Mission Impossible, because when he was doing the fifth one and he was jumping off of buildings and all that and on a plane, yeah, the guy still got it. He's willing to be crazy for a role. Pike had to go do a show on streaming because when the pandemic happened, everybody hid in their houses like moles. I didn't. I went out even with a mask on because I'm not a coward. I'm not afraid of this world. I don't owe this world a thing. There's Jai Courtney again. He doesn't make the movie that long because he's in it a little bit. He's not in the whole movie. Pike is the one that made the movie too long. But hold on. Yeah. Sometimes I don't understand why these movies are so freaking long. I'm telling you right now, if Dune is 3 hours, I'm not seeing it in the theater. I'm just gonna stream it at home on Max. Because when I saw the first Dune, Denis Villeneuve's first version of Dune, I had fun watching it at home. It was gorgeous and it's breathtaking, to look at, but it was a little too long. I think if they had trimmed some characters out, it would have been fine. Spidey, Rosamund Pike should have been cut out of this movie. She could have been, and it would not affect the plot at all. All the exposition, you could have given that to Courtney, or you could have given it to David Oyelowo, even though I don't care about him either. Yeah. Karen Gillan, there's a reason that she was in the MCU and you're not, Rosamund, or Emily Blunt, or these other worthless bentos, because you're not good enough. Karen had to wear makeup and be dead and be committed to the role in order to be in the MCU. And now I'm going to meet her in a few months. Not you. I don't want to even look at you again after this. If I see The World's End, I'm going to see it in August. And I'm not doing a podcast for it. There's like 4 other commentaries to listen to. I heard the DVD commentary already. Because at least Jai Courtney disappeared for 30 minutes, so at least we didn't miss him. But with Rosamund, she's like, every 5 minutes we have to see what she's doing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care about you. I don't. If you retired after the Wheel of Time, nobody would care. That show was only a hit because people want to stream everything now. They don't want to watch TV anymore. There's Werner Herzog. He's scary. Like, even in The Mandalorian, he has like a scary looking face. He's Joyman. Like our good girl Alexandria and Alexandra Camp. Yeah, she's yummy, and she's from West Germany, not West England. She's a way more desirable woman than any woman in this movie. Alexia is okay here, but she's not in the film that much. She's like in 1 or 2 scenes, and that's it. You saw he doesn't have any fingers. You heard the commentary Speed? Yeah, I heard the commentaries for Speed. I'm going to do a podcast for that, but I'll do that probably at the end of the month because I'm not on a Keanu Reeves kick yet. I'm doing Tom Cruise first. Then I'll do Keanu Reeves. I'll see John Wick 4. I'll do a podcast for Speed. Yeah, she reminds me of Florence Pugh in Black Widow. Yeah, exactly. And she made the movie too long. That should have been Scarlett Johansson's movie, not a worthless bento that talks like this for the whole movie. I'm like, fuck you. Can't stand him. I have all this pent-up anger and rage not because I have anger issues, because I don't like these people in my films. They don't need to be there. When I watch a Tom Cruise movie, I watch it for him. When I'm watching a Star Wars movie, I want to watch it for the story and the spectacle and also the characters, the originals or the prequel characters. I don't care about a worthless Brit with a stick. Shove that up your ass. Or your yellow lightsaber. Shove that up your ass. Transformers, that's why I didn't hate Rise of the Beast. People just didn't like it because it wasn't the last, it wasn't Bumblebee, but it wasn't horrible like Revenge of the Fallen or Age of Extinction where it's overly long for no reason. You could have been 2 hours. You don't need the extra 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Wait, Rack, let me just take this out of the way. I don't want you chewing on these wires. It's fine. Be safe, okay? Be safe. Rest. Anyway, back to the commentary. Scarlett Johansson is she's gorgeous, guys. I want to meet her or Brie or even Iman because she's adorable. I want to tell a woman how adorable she is. They light up like a candle. When you're sincere about it, they light up like candles. Now I could open the window. Yep, and he's dead. You could have done that 2 minutes ago, guys. Just saying. It's not going to hurt. No wonder this is leaving Paramount Plus, because even Paramount's sick of this movie being on there. And another scene with Rosamund Pike. Yay. God, she's so boring. I have 2 actresses, like I said, that are for every worthless bento, there's always like an alternative to them. Like Bella Ramsey, I got Caitlin Dever. She's way sexier and older than you. This bento, I got Laura Linney, who's older than her, and and Laura Dern. Yeah, two Lauras that are gorgeous and can act. They got an Oscar nomination. So what do you get? You got an Oscar nomination for playing crazy. Yeah, Harley Quinn is also crazy, and it didn't work. Margot Robbie knew that wasn't working. That's why she bailed out. The DCU is dead. Okay, the DCU is it's been dead since the Snyder Cut came out during the pandemic. The pandemic pretty much killed the DCU, the DCEU. Now the 10-year plan won't fail because the pandemic should be over by next year or by 2025. No writer strike anymore. No actor strike. Just do your job, pay these people, and move on with your lives. Please, Hollywood, stop making these writers work hours and hours without good pay. No, if they told me that, I would tell them to shove it because I don't write anything for free. I have to get something out of it. Even when I write a card for my friends, I put effort into it. I reminded Margot Robbie should just retire. Yeah, exactly. When Barbie fails or if it does well, I'm like, hey, do 15 more of those and then retire. Stop trying to be a dramatic actress. It's not working. People see right through your bullshit, mate. No, I want you to drive off a cliff. You saw there's a PetSmart there or Petco. No, Petco, yeah. The film is shot really well. Why is it so dull? Why is the first hour of the movie just default auto parts? Yeah, that's a generic name. Is that supposed to be an AutoZone or something? If you're not going to cast the right people, then just don't cast people anymore. Let a computer do it. They would do better than you, Hollywood. Back in the day, they didn't cast people based on color or their accent. They cast them based on talent, what they could bring to the table. Even when the movie failed, actors at least tried. Katharine Hepburn never did movies for the she didn't do it for the Oscar Globes and glory. She did it because she loved acting, and she proved it. I rewatched the extended cut of the Fantastic Four movie. It still holds up. It still makes me laugh. And when there's no action, at least you got good interactions with the characters. Here, you got just Tom Cruise being awesome. Everybody else is just dull. Ooh, them's fighting whites.
Hello, I need some help. Hello? Hey! You are not allowed back in here, man.
There she is. This is her second scene in the movie.
You know this guy? No.
She looks like Lily James. Thankfully, it wasn't her because she ruined the Baby Driver. Would have been better if she wasn't in it. That's what I'm saying. These Brits end up in movies I don't want to see them in. That's why I like Quantumania because there's no Brits in that movie. Yet nobody wanted to see it because they were all superhero fatigued. Yet that movie is the only one Marvel movie in years that doesn't have a Brit in it. Not even a voice. Now everything has to have Brits in it because reasons. They don't belong here.
You told me you were a predator. You were supposed to start copying.
And Jack Reacher's an anti-hero because he does hurt people and he kills if he has to. Also, Vanessa Hudgens is way better than Vanessa Kirby. Yeah, I agree with that. Look at Bad Boys 3. She surprised me in that. She went from the Disney Channel and singing to freaking kicking ass. And I'm like, yeah, she did a good job in that. I did not expect that from her. How long are we in? 54 minutes. We're almost an hour in and we've only had one action scene. I'm like, that's not good pacing. I'm sorry. I'm not going to blame McQuarrie completely because, again, this is the first film he directed. Directing wise, it's fine. The pacing is slow. He should have fired his editors and get an editor that knows how to edit a scene out and just make it shorter. This scene is fine. It's just him and this other girl, and it's not Pike. Pike is a freaking fish. You're boring to look at.
Obviously short.
Girls like you, hey, girls like you are actually desirable compared to this worthless Binto. At least you're not. She shows emotion. She has eyes that are wet with tears. She's emoting. She's not a freaking robot. And I've seen her act before. And it's funny because that's ironic because Hurricane Sandy hit in 2012. New York City was covered in several feet of water. That was the year the Barclays Center opened, and it was covered in water because it was raining so much. It was a hurricane. What is it, puppy? How you doing? So she's okay. That's just my dog jumping around. She's bored. This movie is very slow. Yeah, it's way too slow. By the time Cruise gets into an action scene, we're about an hour and 15 minutes into the movie. And I'm not a simpleton. I don't need action every 5 minutes, but give me something. Throw in a joke. Have a dance scene. Punch somebody. Just do something. Top Gun Maverick wasn't this long, and that was awesome. They're flying. You feel that. It's like being in the air with them flying. This lady's not even moving. Looks like Helen Mirren. It's not her, though. Yep, crack pipe. So she's stoned. She probably can't even move. That's why you don't use drugs when you get older. Is she dead? She has a cell phone. Puppy, whoopee, 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 whoopee. She's looking for food. I love it when she does that. Okay, now because I know that Jai Courtney kills people and that's something happening, but he's not the lead of this movie. Wait, Ryan, let me get the DVD player out of there. I don't want you sniffing this thing. I've had this thing for almost 7 years, well, almost 8 years now. I'll just leave it over here. I don't want you crashing it or licking it. Right there. Yeah, I mean, parody movies have a better pacing than this, and some of them are awful. You know, not 2001: A Space Travesty. That something was happening, and every 5 minutes there's at least something visual not to look at. Here, it's great to look at, but my God, it's so freaking long. Next time I see this movie, I'm skipping the scenes with Rosamund Pike entirely. Then the movie would be an hour and 45 minutes like I wanted to. It's just too freaking long. It is. This and Mission Impossible are two movies that Cruise did that could have been easily shorter and had more action. If you're going to have 2 hours, do something in it. Please. The Jason Bourne movies weren't this boring in the beginning, in the first hour. Yeah, now we got an action scene. Finally. They cruise in the head with a baseball bat. And you missed. And you missed again. These guys are idiots. They're trying to kill Cruise. And yeah, the John Wick movies are better than this. All of the John Wick movies, even John Wick 3. People had a problem with it, but it didn't have a bad pacing. It didn't. There were some scenes that could have been cut out of Parabellum, but it was much better than this movie, and it's almost the same running time. I was never bored, though. When Keanu Reeves is on, he is on, like Donkey Kong. They should have skipped her scenes. Yeah, she didn't need to be in this movie. Yep, he's gonna get your eye out. See, the fight scenes are great in the scene. McQuarrie knows how to shoot a fight scene and choreograph it. It looks great, but it took way too long. I don't want to wait an hour to see something happen, guys. Take that. Yep, he's hitting his head with your head. Eat it. Eat head. See, and again, the action scenes are too short. They're too short. I don't know if it's like that in the book or in the TV show, but please do so in the TV. If I see the TV show on Amazon Prime, please don't bore me to death. And I know each episode is like about 45 minutes to an hour long. You missed. Yeah, I know that's your hand, but again, don't piss off Tom Cruise in this movie. Give him answers. That's what I'm saying. He's an anti-hero. Yeah, this movie needed to be much shorter. And if it was an hour and 45 minutes, that would have been fine. At least they don't shake the camera. No, they don't. They don't shake the camera, and there's no bad editing. Like the Taken sequels were far worse. Taken 2 came out the same year as this, and it was horrendously shot. While it was short, it was just like shaking the camera every 2 minutes. It's awful. Taken 2 and Taken 3 are just awful. McQuarrie at least knows how to direct the movie. Olivia Megaton does not. I saw Colombiana, and most of the film was all right. Some of the fight scenes in the beginning, but the third act has some of the worst editing I've ever seen. Zoe Saldana's like fighting a guy in the bathroom, and you could barely see what's going on. It's awful. She's not the problem with the movie. She's gorgeous. But again, the rest of the movie just fell flat. That's why the movie didn't do well. This is not a movie I want to revisit again for another year because of Rosamund. She makes the movie too long. Her and Aiello don't even need to be here. They could have been cut. It should have been Cruise against Jai Courtney, and that would have been fine, like a cat and mouse kind of a thing that he's chasing Tom Cruise. That would have been fine. Here, they got the worst possible actress that they could get in 2012 because the hobo wasn't a thing yet, and Emily Blunt was too busy ruining. What was it, that 5-year engagement or whatever that came out that same year? Yeah. Ugh. Length doesn't mean the movie is epic. No, it doesn't mean that. It could be epically boring. Plus, that made some movies flop at the box office. Yes, exactly. You know why Mario did well? Again, it is 92 minutes. Not 2 hours and 40, not 2:30, not 2:20, not 2:15, not 2:05. It's 92 minutes. Without the end credits, about 88 minutes. That's long enough. You don't need to go over 2 hours. Yet you had freaking, Guardians 3 did well also, but again, it could have been shorter. It didn't need to be 2 hours and 19 minutes. It could have been the Juju kids and the villain could have been cut. You need one villain, not two. Because think about that. If Adam Warlock was the villain, that would have been fine. Him and the Sovereign from the second movie. Instead, she gets underused and Adam Warlock gets underused. And then you have this screaming mammy for 2 hours. For 2 freaking hours. Yeah, for 2 hours, it's just him screaming half of his dialogue. And it was giving me a headache. I'm like, please shut up. When I see it on Disney Plus, I'm putting the volume low. I'm not going to hear this asshole going, the sky? No, it's too much. It's over the top. You're not Hamlet, dude. You don't need to act like that. It's too much. It's like they're either boring or they're way too loud. Like Keira Knightley. Everything she does, she has to yell in it. Except Phantom Menace. She barely was in that. Why did Batista quit Marvel? Because he had to. With Marvel's, it's over. The Guardians are over. He did 3 Guardians movies, Infinity War, Endgame, the holiday special, and he did Love and Thunder. I think that's enough. His character arc is over. I don't want a Guardians 4. We got enough. Considering we got a trilogy of 3 good sci-fi movies, even though they all have problems. First movie, the villain sucked. The second movie, the soundtrack wasn't as great. And the third movie was too long. But they were not they were not the sequel trilogy. They weren't that, at least. Those are also overly long. The Mummy 2017 is not good, but it's not 2 hours long. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. That's bearable compared to 2 hours and 10.
Maybe someone got nervous. Got another coma.
It's 11 o'clock already, and the movie's not is only half done. But we're almost done, guys. Don't worry about it. I know I complain a lot, Josh. I'm just getting this pent out energy out now. So when I do podcasts like I want to do, like Mario, or I don't know, another Marvel movie like the next Avengers, or a DC movie, when I do those in August, I'll feel better because they're not going to be this long. I'm going to choose the shortest ones that I can. Like Batman Forever. That's not 2 hours long. It's like an hour and 45 minutes. Live for or Die Hard is shorter than this movie, and that movie's amazing. I saw that movie in the theater 10 years ago, the PG-13 cut, but I'm like, it doesn't feel overly long. The first one is a little bit too long. It's slow in the beginning, but when Die Hard kicks in the gear, it doesn't get boring. This movie just lost me. After Tom Cruise beats up those guys in the bathroom, like, yeah, the movie just slows down. I know it's more of a thriller than an action movie, but give me some thrills. A chase scene in a car, or a running scene, or something, a helicopter scene. He should have thrown her out the window. That would have made this movie a full price. That's why I didn't see this in the theater in December. I didn't want to see an overly long movie. I already saw a long movie in December that year in the theater. I saw The Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey. That was really long, and it was a theatrical cut. Are you going to do a commentary for Batman Forever? Probably in August. Not July, because I'm all DC'd out. I need a break. I haven't seen the DC movie since The Flash, because it just took a lot out of me. That failure just hurt me a lot, being a fan of that character. How would you like it if one of your favorite characters from a movie, a video game, a comic book, a novel was butchered and you know was butchered at the box office? It would hurt you, wouldn't it? It's like when Blade Runner flopped, the sequel. It's amazing, still love it, but it flopped because people thought it was an action movie. It's not. That's why my older sister falls asleep when she first saw this on movie on DVD. It is too long. It's just too long. She probably thought it was going to be 90 minutes. It's not. It's overly long. Just like every other movie now. Avatar, the Snyder Cut was too long. The Batman, great, but it's too long. The last John Wick movie, I heard it's almost 3 hours. It could have been shorter. I'm going to see it, but I'm not seeing the whole thing twice. The first John Wick was like an hour and 40 minutes. How did it go from an hour and 40 minutes to 2 hours and 40 minutes? The last Terminator movie I saw was too long. The not Salvation, the Genesis. It could have been an hour and 45 minutes, like the original. It didn't need to be over 2 hours. You're not T2. You don't need to be that long. Terminator 3 was like an hour and 50 minutes. That's fine. Didn't feel like it dragged. But with Genesis, it dragged ass, especially when Emilia Clarke shows up. What did the Brits do to me? I went to the theater in 2015 and I was raped, guys. I was raped of my senses. All I did was sit my ass in that theater to see Force Awakens. The moment the hobo started talking, I felt like my manhood was stolen from me. That's why I felt violated. Yeah, I'm not lying. I couldn't sleep for years after that. That's a psychological trauma. It's like when people go to war and then they have PTSD. It's a psychological thing. You can't see that physically. You can only see inside the head. That's what the hobo did to me. And ever since that, I don't trust these people anymore, especially the women. I prefer American women, Asian women, Canadian women. Even freaking African women, they're much better than Bentos. Yeah. Or women from the Caribbean. I do not trust British women. Just don't. 90% of them are just horrible. Please stop showing a close up of her. An hour. Oh my God. This is not a hate commentary. I don't hate this movie. I just hate the pacing. It could have been much faster. Do something. Olden Archer. Less is more. I agree with that. Cinema Fan 2007. You're talking sense. When movies are too long, like Teenage Kraken was under 2 hours, yet the movie flopped because nobody wanted to see it because they saw The Little Mermaid already. And it's basically The Little Mermaid remake in reverse and animated instead of live action. Movies are just too long. Next year, please, you don't need to make Joker 2 4 hours. Get to the point. The first one was under 2 hours, and I'm very happy about that. I'm going to call it Joker 2 because they put it in French. Folie de Deux or whatever. It's Joker 2, guys. Don't make it 2.5 hours. I don't need it to be that long. Please, Todd Phillips, don't make the movie that long because I don't need a boring movie. I want something fun. There's too much talking in this movie. Macquarie, I hope to God that Dead Reckoning is not this for an hour. I don't need a lot of talking. Nolan already does enough of that, and freaking these other directors. Even Tarantino has a problem with that. They put too much talking in the movie. Talk, then get to an action scene. Talk, then get to an action scene. You don't need to talk for like 40 minutes. This is why I'm not doing the podcast for the Transformers movies because there's too many of them. I'd rather do the animated film or Bumblebee again or Rise of the Beast because those are bearable. But all the Michael Bay movies are too freaking long. The first film was too long. So then when we get to Age of Extinction and it's 2 hours and 30 minutes, I'm like, please don't do this to me again. This is Alexia's third scene in the movie, by the way. Mini bosoms. See, I had to do something. I needed some kind of, I don't know, incentive after all the boredom I've had in this movie so far in the first hour with when Cruz is not on screen.
Wait, it is Sam, isn't it?
Do I know you?
Hello, puppy wuppy. At least she's nice to look at, and she's not boring. She's probably the only girl in the movie that's not boring. David Aiello disappears. He's in the beginning of the movie talking to Cruz. Then you don't see him until the third act. Courtney's not horrible in the movie, but he should have been the only focus of villain. You don't need two villains here. It's a Canadian and an Australian. Weird, right? This is the world we live in now, guys. And this is when it was like rare. Now they're in everything. At least in Doom Part 2, it's got the same cast. The only two actors added that I don't care about are Austin and Florence, but they're not going to ruin the movie for me. Because Denis Villeneuve doesn't bore me to tears. An hour and 13 minutes. Oh, they hit a girl. Yep. And they could do that back in 2012. Now they do that and the movie gets canceled. Yeah, blow me. That poor girl. See, even when she gets her mouth covered, she's crying. It's called showing emotion. When Rosamund Pike gets electrocuted later, she screams. She's like, no! And I'm like, yeah, again, I was laughing my ass off. At least that's something funny. And this is not a comedy. But her reaction is just, it's laughable. Go away. This is why she doesn't do movies anymore, guys. Because she's old and nobody cares about her anymore. And says she gets Wheel of Time, which I never even read the book or whatever. She's like Alison Doody in Last Crusade. She makes the movie too long. And I enjoy Last Crusade, but like I said, if it could have been 10 minutes shorter, and I would have been fine with it. Because she's in the beginning of the movie, and then she betrays Indy, and then she disappears until the end of the movie. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I prefer brunettes over blondes any day. Anyway, brunettes. Black hair or brown hairs, it does it for me way more than a Barbie doll like her. And even a Barbie doll has more life to her than this. Yeah, they killed off Alexia fast. Yeah, now I have nothing to look at for the next. We're an hour and 16 minutes in. We got about 45 minutes left. About 45 to 50 minutes left. The movie could have been much shorter. Even the chat is getting bored with this movie. I don't blame you guys. I'm the one sitting through it. It's not horrible, but like I said, there's 45 minutes of this movie that could have been trimmed, at least a little bit. But these editors don't know what they're doing. They think every scene needs to be in the movie. No, put it on the Blu-ray for deleted scenes or extended scenes. That makes more sense than putting every scene in the film. That's going to be my problem with Mission Impossible when I see it in 3 days. I'm going to say it's too long, but again, people are going to have heard it before. Movies since the mid-90s have been too long. Yeah, since Titanic. When that made billions of dollars, people thought it was because of how long it was. Yeah. No, it's not. If a play is that long, I get it. But if it's a movie, I want it to be go at a brisk pace. Not 3 hours long. We're not going to listen to you. Yellow's a villain in the movie. I already knew that. He's a corrupt cop. And he's a British guy. Were you surprised when he became the villain, other than Jai Courtney? Because he tasers freaking Rosamund Pike? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. See, finally, a chase scene. An hour and 17 minutes into the movie. That's way too long. You don't need to be Heat, guys, or Chinatown. You could have a little more action. The French Connection wasn't this long. That movie knew about good pacing and not making the movie drag ass. Yeah, they don't belong in superhero movies. Robert got lucky that he played a good Batman, but that's only because he had a good director working with him. And good writing, mostly, except for the scenes in the Penguin Lounge, they could have been cut entirely. It should have just been 1 or 2 scenes, not 4. This scene is cool. It's good to look at, but like I said, it takes way too long to get into the film. Cruise is good at 3 things: running, driving, and jumping off of things. When he's not doing any of that, then I'm getting bored, and it's not because of him. The chase scene should have been in the first 5 minutes, definitely. The first 45 minutes. Not an hour and 45 minutes in. Sheesh. Would I recommend this movie? Yeah, but skip the boring parts and just get to the good stuff with Cruise and Alexia Fast and some other actors that are not bored out of their mind, that are sleepwalking in the movie. But again, I've seen better chase sequences in the Terminator movies. That's including 3. Fast and the Furious, the first ones, that Paul Walker did, not the last 3 cartoons that came out. The chase scene in Torque, yeah, as ridiculous as that movie is, that movie knew when to be entertaining and when to talk. Uh, the Die Hard movies had chase scenes that were pretty good. The freaking Back to the Future films, yeah, those are comedies. Come on. That's right. Fast and the Furious, I'll say this about the early ones. They were not this long. They didn't start getting overly long until 5 came out. Eternals was also sleep. Well, oh my God, no, that movie's worse. The most boring superhero movie I've seen in the theater. Bar none. Because it was longer than this and it didn't need to be that long. It was 2 hours and 28 minutes. And I'm like, good God, you could have cut 5 characters from this movie. Longer and more characters doesn't mean you're better than the Avengers or the Justice League or even the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy. You saw that registration says May 2012. That already passed. This is a hard podcast to get through only because of how long the movie is. Icarus was the most bland character in that movie. Yeah, and he's boring. You know what they told Richard Madden? Just don't show emotion. Just be frowny for the whole movie. Be stoic and boring. And it bored me to death. Like I was like, I hated that actor, and I didn't see Citadel because of him. I didn't because I'm like, he's boring. He's a boring actor. I don't know how some people find these people from the UK attractive. A lot of them are just dull. They got no expression on their face. Tom Holland has way more expression in his whole face than half of these Bintos combined. This is not The Dark Knight, guys. You don't need to make it 2.5 hours or 2 hours and 5 minutes. You could be a little bit shorter and faster pace. That's why the sequel had way more action and less filler, and that's why critics didn't like it because they're like, it's just a generic action movie. Yeah, but it has action in it. It's not so freaking long. And Kobe Smulders has something to do in that movie. Richard Madden, even in real life, looks boring. Yeah, he's the lesser Sebastian Stan, if you ask me. I don't want to meet people like that at Comic-Con. I want to meet people that are interesting and express their faces and use voice acting to get their range across. These people are just boring from the word go. Where's Rosamund Pike in these scenes? Oh, she was busy filming World's End and Wrath of the Titans, which she sucked in those too. So I've never seen her in a movie where she was good. Never. Squirrel Hill. Is that Morgan Freeman? It looks like him. Yeah, he gave Tom Cruise a hat. Yeah. Why? So he could blend into the background. And now he's going to get on the bus. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Remember those commercials? Yeah, he does look like Morgan Freeman. He has no dialogue in the movie, but at least he's... I know, I don't believe how bad you are in this movie. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Oh my God, you're so boring. Freaking, the girl from Prometheus is a better actress than you, and she's not a good character in that. What's her name? Noomi Rapace? Yeah, she's gorgeous compared to this worthless bento. At least Rapace, I would have her any day over this girl. If I had to make a choice, yeah, I take the chick from dead man down over this. No, you go fuck yourself. This is the scene in the elevator scene where she gets electrocuted. Again, she should have seen this coming. You're boring. You're so freaking boring. I'm not going to do another podcast with any of your movies. If I see The World's End, I'm seeing it so I can laugh my ass off because you're not funny. I don't like robots. I don't like females that act like robots. Is Morgan Freeman in the movie? No, it's a guy that looks like him. He's a darker shade of Morgan Freeman, just a discount Morgan Freeman, if you will. At least that guy had more emotion on his face than this girl. She's like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And I'm like, God, you're so boring. There's a Coca-Cola sponsor. Collateral is shorter than this movie. It's only an hour and 59 minutes. It's 1 minute short of being 2 hours. That is way more bearable. And there's no Rosamund Pike in the movie. So suck on that, you freaking fish. This is why Jack Reacher became a TV show, and it works better. Because in a TV show, you can cut for time. You can make an episode 45 minutes, not 2 hours and 10. Ruby Rose, yeah, she retired. I'm glad she should stay retired. The Hobo, Gemma Arterton, Richard Madden are all robots. Yeah, they don't emote. That's why Rosamund Pike should stay away from Hollywood. Yeah, continue with Wheel of Time and then retire, damn it. Here comes the shocker, if you will. Ohio. I've been to Ohio twice, in 2007 and 2011. And the score is good. And the film looks great, but why is it so freaking long? This should have been 2 parts, you know? That's why it's a TV series. I'll probably watch the TV series, just not this week, because I want to see things that are not boring in the beginning. I agree with Cinema Fan. Rosamund Pike should stay away from Hollywood. She did. Once her movies didn't make money, after Gone Girl, after that Oscar nomination, she went nowhere. They put her in a bunch of films, these dramatic roles that were too somber and way too dark and boring, so they dumped her on streaming, and she hasn't been in a movie since. Not anything of particularly good anyway. I didn't see that movie that she did with the eye patch. No. I stood away from her. You're boring. I want a woman to be desirable and sexy and interesting and have a nice soothing voice like Kristen Wiig. She has a sexy voice. There's Robert Duvall, an hour and 27 minutes into the movie in a 2-hour movie. He's old, so he has an excuse, but Rosamund, what's her excuse? Oh, I'm just a British chick doing a fake American accent for half the movie and I'm bored out of my mind. Tom Cruise is not boring in the movie, but the rest of the cast is. They got nothing to do.
I think even during the moment some cop comes in here asking this for sure some soccer mom around here is more worried about your range and she's about the pool in her backyard. For the first wouldn't matter that like killing animals, right? Only that you can reverse. She had the keys to shut it down. That's better. What do you want? Boys out there.
Also, if Robert Duvall wasn't going to be in the film long, you could have cut him out of the movie too. Because him coming an hour and 27 minutes, that's way too late to introduce a new character. By that time, people are already like headed to out of the theater like a few minutes later. Did you watch Batman Gotham Knight? Yeah, I have that on DVD. I'm not doing a podcast for it though, not yet. I want to do Batman Forever in August. I'll find a day that I can do it before I go on vacation and do it when I'm alone. I could stream it on Max. Because if I could stream it, why should I put the Blu-ray or the DVD? You know, it's an option. I'm still watching the film. It's the actual film. I only do DVDs when I'm doing them in the basement or upstairs in my room. Bullets. Because Will Smith's movie, you know, Enemy of the State, good movie, but it's too long. There's at least 5 subplots you could have cut out. I saw a lot of Disney movies in the theater when I was a kid and also at home, and they were never this long. I saw The Lion King, was not this long. What else did I see? I saw a bunch of Pixar films in the theater. Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3. I saw Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up, and none of them were 2 hours and 5 minutes. Cars was like the first Pixar movie to be over 2 hours long. I think, yeah, the first Cars, not the sequels. The sequels were much shorter. Elemental, the running time is not the problem. It's just that it's a diversity hire movie, and we've seen enough of that. Will Smith did not recover from the slap that he did. Well, he will, Milos, because he's already working on from Bad Boys 4. Why does he have a bullet in his ear? That doesn't make any sense. Plus, I think this movie would have been much better if it was rated R. Rated R and like 20 or 30 minutes shorter. Would have helped a lot more. That's why John Wick was better than this, the first John Wick. Even John Wick 2 is better because it has a lot of action in those 2 hours. It doesn't drag ass for 30 minutes. Because the first fight scene in this movie is about 34 minutes in. That's way too long. I can't wait that long. Fire at will. This movie is better than Expendables 3. Yeah, but only because it's doesn't have any god-awful CGI in it. And it's while it's longer, at least Cruise is good in the movie. He's not phoning it in.
Suppose I told you Bar was in this spirit.
I'm keeping the volume low because I don't want to get a copyright infringement for the dialogue or sound or whatever.
I'm saying,
Am I going to do this for every movie? No. Some movies, if it's an old black and white movie, I can keep it. Okay, wrap the scene up, guys, and let's get to the third act already. Where a yellow betrays this girl and tasers her. I remember that scene. That scene I remember in this movie very vividly. You know, I remember it. The Matrix, John Wick, Point Break, Spider-Man is way better than yeah. And those knew what to have action. No Way Home, after Aunt May dies, it doesn't drag for 30 minutes. It drags for a little bit, and then the other Peter Parkers meet, and then there's a third act. Look at those dead eyes. I know. I'm too busy butchering that accent in two other films. No wonder the writer's strike happened because they keep writing god awful dialogue for actors that can't deliver it. They sound like robotics. They don't sound. Rampage was shorter than this movie, and that movie wasn't 2 hours and 10 minutes. And that the only character that could have been cut was Naomi Harris because I don't care about her. I care about The Rock, George, and the monsters fighting at the end. That's awesome. And even when The Rock is just like fighting other people, it's an entertaining movie. This movie just drags. It drags. Please, Dead Reckoning Part One, don't be as slow as this, please. Dark Phoenix was also pretty boring, but that was an end of a franchise. What do you expect? It was still shorter than this, though. It wasn't 2 hours and 5 minutes. Even Captain Marvel wasn't this. If she was Captain Marvel, that would have made the movie 10 times worse. People think that Brie can't act. Brie won an Oscar before she did Captain Marvel. This Pinto didn't even win one. Yeah. And Captain Marvel made $1 billion. This movie didn't. It made money, but it didn't make $1 billion because it came out the same month as The Hobbit. Richard Jenkins is like, yeah, I'm just gonna nod. White House Down came out a year after this, and that's a much better movie. It's ridiculous, but at least it knows what it is. And they should have labeled this a thriller drama because that's what it is. It's not really an action movie. It really isn't. The second one is more of an action movie because you have the scene when Tom Cruise punches a car, he breaks a window. The scene that there's a chase scene with him and Kobe Smulders. There's a scene with him on a roof, again, where he breaks the guy's neck and his arms and all that. That works because there's a lot longer action than this. This every action scene is like 30 seconds. I've seen wrestling matches have more action than this that were like 5 minutes. Here comes that super scene where I laugh my ass off because it's so ridiculous. They taser her in the elevator. It's laughable. Watch this. Here it comes, elevator. Don't enter an elevator in a movie, especially a horror movie, because you never know what's going to happen. That's why I take the stairs or the escalator. It's way safer. Brie Larson's way more prettier. Yeah, she's gorgeous, and she can act. And she's proven it. Here it comes. From one Brit to another. Zzz, yeah. Again, The Batman is a better movie, and even though that's really long, it's not boring. It's great to look at, and it's got a great soundtrack, and it doesn't have any worthless bintos as a female lead. Zoe Kravitz, at least, is trying. Here it comes. No! I'm gonna taser you. It's because she's white, isn't it? Yuck. I know that. I know that's me, but I don't care. You're such a weak character. No! I needed a good laugh, man. Thanks, Corey, for that. And then the woman gets tasered right in the neck. Eee! Again, I wish they had done that an hour and a half ago, but hey, better late than never, right? An hour and 39 minutes until she gets incapacitated. Take that, you English piece of slime. I'm sorry, but we beat them in 1776 for a reason, so we can have our independence and not sound like we're drunk. You know, that's why we beat them, and they never got over it. For over 500 years, they never got over it. Yeah, because we had 1876, 1976, 2006. We haven't got to 2076, so almost 400 years, and they didn't get over it. Batman 1989, a successful movie. Yeah, it was. And it wasn't boring, guys. Even the action, even when there's no action, there's a lot of the Joker is great to look. It's fun to watch. Rosa, if I can't act, and the scene proves it. Yeah, no. Yeah, again, that's how you. That's how you scream like a bitch. I knew David Aiello was a scumbag in this movie. That's why he doesn't even make any arrests in the movie. They tasered her. She should have been out of commission for the rest of the movie, but no. It's too long. Like the movie, it could have ended right here. Like Reacher gets to her, rescues her, the movie's over. But no, it's got to drag for another 20 minutes. Taken is much shorter than this movie, and there's a reason. Taken it still holds up better. I think it's a better action movie, and it doesn't. Even when Liam Neeson is on that phone, he has one of the most intimidating lines in all time. Here, it's not as good. Trust me, Cruz. I believe you would do that. Or Ezra Miller.
If she doesn't answer the phone when I call this number, I disappear. And if you're smart, that scares you. Because I don't like smart. Nothing better.
There's too many villains in this movie too, because Courtney should have been the only villain in the movie. The sniper, that's it. A silent sniper that kills people. That's all you need. Aiello and Werner Herzog don't do much for me in this film. Taken is the best action movie ever. That's fine. I enjoyed it. I think it got a little bit too much praise when it came out, but I enjoy it for what it is. At least it's not boring. The sequels are way worse. The sequels have too much dialogue and bad editing, bad shaky camera work, and they do stupid things like throwing bombs off of buildings. And who's doing that? Not Liam Neeson, his daughter. Yeah, this movie could have been much shorter, but again, that's just me. An hour and 43 minutes in, and the chat, we're an hour and 43 minutes and 34 seconds because I started it a little bit before the movie. And it doesn't have the opening logos are not the reason the movie's long. It's not even the end credits. It's just that the film drags. Please let something happen. An hour and 44 minutes in. Man, this is a long, long movie, man. That's why my next one's going to be a lot shorter than this. Speed is shorter than this, guys. Don't worry, I clocked it. It's an hour and 50 minutes. The third act drags a little bit. Like after the bus stops, the movie should have just ended there. Like, he kills the villain on the bus and movie's over. But no, they have to have a whole 15-minute train scene. While it's a good scene, it still makes the movie drag a little bit at the end, where Sandra Bullock is strapped to a bomb. I think the movie just peaked for me when the bus crashed. No, Josh, the Meg 2 is not going to be 2 hours. Meg 2, The Trench, is going to be about an hour and 56 minutes. While that's longer than the first movie, it's still shorter than this. I'm not seeing this for Sienna Galore. She did one really good role, and that was Jill in Resident Evil Apocalypse, because she owned it in that. In Clifford, she could have been cut. In the Time Machine remake, she could have been cut because they give her nothing to do, and she dies. Give her something to do or don't put her in the movie. It's what happened to me. You are failing. The budget is not the problem with this movie. The budget is amazing. The film looks great. It's shot well. There's no bad CGI in the film, which is a breath of fresh air. Because after seeing so many movies this year with so much CGI, not counting Mario because that was animated, it's great to see a movie that looks like a film. It's just, I wish it was a much shorter film. But at least Christopher McQuarrie learned from his mistakes. Because with the second Jack Reacher, they got a different director, and it was way shorter. When he did Rogue Nation and Fallout, while Fallout is longer than this movie, it has a lot of great action in it that I still remember to this day. Come on. End. Yeah, because she can't help herself. She's a total damsel in distress. And in 2012, that was already old. We had a kick-ass lead in the Avengers with Black Widow, and she got out of a chair by herself without superpowers. Yet this girl can't even get out of a situation. Yep, going in reverse. Yeah. Being in a movie this long, Cruise, it is if there's not a lot of action going on. He's driving backwards. It's like Fast 9. When I saw that, I was like, it was too long. We need a new Spawn movie. There's one in development, but because of the writer's strike, it hasn't happened yet. They got Jamie Foxx as Spawn. Spawn was not a good movie. The 97 film was terrible, but it wasn't this long. It knew not to be 2 hours long. Yeah, Robert Duvall just is there to shoot in the third act. This reminds me a lot of the scene in Skyfall when Albert Finney is in that house and then they shoot at the end. Yeah, that scene could have been cut too. The Spawn show is great. Yeah, the animated show, I heard it was good. It was way darker than the Batman animated series. I know because it was R-rated. Todd McFarlane's comics are not supposed to be meant for kids. We're almost done. We're going to get through this. This isn't even the longest movie I've done a podcast for this year. The longest was The Batman. I'm glad I got that over with because it was really long. And I don't like to do long podcasts because then I get tired. It wears me out more than a 90-minute movie, you know? You missed. I know, stomach. Don't worry. I'm going to feed you in a little bit. Once this is over, I'm going to cook some eggs. Yep, you want a knife to a gunfight. Mm-hmm. A rock. Yeah, eat it. Right in your face. Right in your head. That's right. Take that coconut head. You don't need to be Die Hard or Speed, but don't be freaking long and boring. Because that the first hour of this movie just drags like the Transformers movies that Bay did. You don't need to wait an hour to see your main characters. Bumblebee and Rise of the Machines had them way sooner than an hour. Rise of the Machines, after we introduce Anthony Ramos' character, once he gets in the car, the movie gets started. Here, it just drags ass. That's why it took so long to do a podcast for this. The second one, I'm just going to rewatch it and not do a podcast for it because this one just, my God, it's so long. Does Roman Pike even act anymore? Yeah, she's in the Wheel of Time, but that got pushed because of the pandemic. But that's not a show I watch, so I'm good. She's boring in that too. She looks like she's 50 years old now. She hasn't aged well. Her acting hasn't aged well, and neither has her face. You see her in Dune, and she looked like she was 20 in that. In Doom, and then she did World's End, and it looks like she got plastic surgery. It's weird. Almost done. We're done with these bintos for today once this is over. John Wick proved that you can make a long movie but make it entertaining enough. 2 and 3 were really entertaining despite being much longer than the original. I'm going to unplug my laptop soon because I'm going to just be done with this afterwards. Cruise is not the problem with the movie. I never said he was the problem. Come on. End, please. End. See? An hour and 54 minutes we get Tom Cruise with a semi-automatic at the end of the movie. In the rain. Like if this is Blade Runner or something, and it's not Blade Runner. That's a classic, even though it flopped. There's a reason they got several different cuts of the movie. Do a podcast on Cast Walking? Never, Milos, never. I would rip that movie a new asshole because I'm like, I'm never watching the hobo act again. I can't. Rosamund Pike's terrible, but she's not in the film that much. Well, she's in too much of it, but not in every scene. The hobo is so terrible that I can't look at her face. It just causes me to it makes my stomach turn. This fight at the end is pretty good, but it took too long to get to it. They should have fought each other throughout the entire film, not just 5 minutes at the end. The pacing in this movie just is awful. It's the worst part of the film, besides the British chick. Take that. And yeah, like Tears in the Rain. Yeah, I wish this was Blade Runner. That one I'd rather do a podcast for than this. Yep, gotcha, bitch. Yep, gotcha. He caved your head in, Jai Courtney. Because, like I said, I'm not going to Comic Con for the Bentos. Nope. The guy that played Adam Warlock, I'm not meeting him. The guy from Mandalorian, that's boring. That's not Pedro Pascal. No, thank you. I want to meet the people that I like. That's how it goes. Because I go to Comic Con alone. Nobody makes the decisions for me. I choose who stays and who goes. Good score, but like I said, I'm glad this wasn't McQuarrie's last film because my God, this movie's just too freaking slow. It could have been an hour 45 minutes. The movie is Hellspawn. Yeah, I didn't see Chaos Walking. Everybody said it was god awful, and Tom Holland couldn't act in that movie because he had to work with the Eater of Worlds. A black girl would have been better than this girl. At least it would have been someone I'm interested in. Oh, Rosamund Pike does nothing in this movie? Yeah, that's what I thought. She's not a badass. She's just there. She's a robot. She can't even move her face. And she got an Oscar nomination, really? Is Florence going to get one too? And she doesn't deserve it?
That's your real name? I know I wouldn't have to. Well, look at this guy.
To me, this is one of the weaker Tom Cruise movies of that year. or of those of the 2010s, because I'm like, well, this and the Mummy, but the Mummy is only worse because of the bad effects and bad world building, and his character's not likable. Here, Jack Reacher's an anti-hero, but he works for the time that he's on screen. Catwalking's a movie that you can use as a torture institution, I know, and I'm not going to do it. I don't want to be tortured this summer. I've been through enough with my stomach problems and my weight, and the movies have flopped this year so far. Otherwise, yep, goodbye. Off screen because it's a PG-13 movie.
What about the truth? What about giving the guys?
You can't handle the truth.
What about bringing it to justice?
Just did.
Yeah, you dumb blonde. I don't want to torture myself. I don't believe in doing that. I've tortured myself already when I saw Dark Phoenix, and that was awful because, like this movie, it's just boring. Well, that movie's boring all the way through. Even the action sucked. Here, at least some of the action was well done. Okay, movie, you can end now. You're at the 2-hour mark. End already, please.
Lady, a road for cash. That's not afraid I end up like Lauren. I'm not. I'm afraid I'll end up like this guy. Let a dead body out.
This movie is literally Mission Impossible 3. Yeah, but Mission Impossible 3 is better. It's shorter, and it doesn't have a worthless Binto female lead. It's got Maggie Q, who's awesome, and you have Michelle Monaghan, who's beautiful, and even Kerry Russell, even though she gets underused, she's a better actress than this worthless Binto. Yeah, please end so I can get on with my day. This movie's too long. It feels too long. See this movie again, guys, on Paramount Plus or anywhere, and see how long it takes to get through it. Sorry, guys, if I'm not saying much. I'm just bored. I want this movie to just end already. This is like a long WrestleMania. You don't need to be that long. 2 hours and 45 minutes is all you need for a WrestleMania. Making it 3, 4, 5 hours long, it's just too long. That's why WrestleManias are broken into 2 parts now, because one night is not enough to do 6 hours of wrestling. That's way too much. My time is precious this summer. I'm not wasting it on bullshit anymore. After today, I'm gonna go straight for the movies that are under 2 hours to get through it. Except for Dead Reckoning, that I'm seeing in the theater. That goes without saying. But screw the Bintos that are gonna be in the movie that I don't care about. I'm not watching it for them. End, movie, just end already. My God, end. WWE is pure trash now. Yeah, I don't watch it as much now. I haven't seen it since the Royal Rumble. Because when Cody Rhodes lost at WrestleMania this year, I was upset. He should have won. You don't win the Rumble to lose at WrestleMania. That's just a waste of an opportunity right there. This scene could have been cut. It should have been Reacher says goodbye, the movie's over. Why does the movie have to end with the worthless Binto talking to this guy in the hospital?
That sounds about right.
Who is she looking at? I agree that WrestleManias are too long. Yeah, they've been long, overly long since the 2000s. Making them 3 hours, I'm like, you don't need it to be that long. There's a lot of pre-show matches that could be cut for time. Cody Rhodes is not a star. He has no charisma. The only thing I see him in is his ego. Debatable, but I still think he should have won at WrestleMania. Movie, please end. I'm begging you. End. Stop dragging the freaking running time. They're going to show Cruz at the end, but again, can you please end, movie? Is it over? Oh my God, thank God that's over. That movie's too long. I'll give it a clap for the technical aspects, but the movie needed to be freaking 15 minutes shorter, at least 15 to 20 minutes. Now let's skip to the end. So thanks for watching, guys. If you usually have to bear this movie with me, because I'm like, yeah, it's too long. It could have been 1 hour and 45 minutes. There's no reason it needs to be 2 hours and 5 minutes. It doesn't warrant that. The last scene is not even good. It's just them talking, and then Reacher, they show him on a bus, and that's it. Wow. Great freaking ending. I'm glad there was a sequel that cut a lot of the fat out. Okay. Thanks for watching. Take care, guys. It's finally over. Yes, Spidey, it's finally over. It felt way longer than it needed to be. Wait, what happened? I didn't pause, and I said, go already. Skip to the end. Jack Reacher. The show better not be this long. If an episode is 2 hours, I'm seeing it in parts. Paramount could do better, I know. Top Gun Maverick was this long, but it didn't feel that long. It wasn't boring. So thanks for watching. Take care. It's leaving September 29th. Good. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See ya.